Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brendan Housler with EVOQ Bike. So I want to talk about reading the race. What does that mean? Some people are like, this seems so just out there, this ethereal, reading the race, understanding the race. But I think it's really important, especially if you're racing or even if you're doing group rides and you're struggling to understand when to attack, when not to attack. How do you read other riders that you don't know? That's the whole point of this. So I have two examples. One I'm going to actually use from my own race at Masters Nats. The course had 2 climbs that we were doing each of them 7 times. So it was going to be 14. I think they were like 2.5 to 3 minutes, a couple stair steppers. That's really where I think a lot of people were focused on the race exploding. And then I have another one for if you're more of a marked rider. I had an athlete that was talking about this, how to know when to go all in and attack. And I think even if you're not a marked rider, just being aware of some of this stuff will be beneficial to you in your training rides and racing. So at the Masters Nationals race, I had, again, these 2 little pitchy climbs. It was basically a rectangular course, and then you went off kind of on a lollipop to finish, fast descent, and into this like slight uphill. I was really thinking that everything would explode on the climb. It was going to be super hot out. I took a bottle every lap, had ice socks. My teammates that were out there helping me, I don't think I would have finished in the front in the break had that happened. But how did I get in the break? As I'm thinking, we're riding out maybe, 5-6 miles till we hit the first climb. When the time trial happened the day before, and I guess this was good knowledge to know since I was there. Shout out to Jaden Yeager. He wins every year by usually minutes at a time. And a new guy to our age group who won in the 35 to 39, Matthew Clark, who's now my teammate on Canberra, he came within, I think, 4 seconds of beating Jaden. First person in years to come anywhere close to him. I saw him after the race. He was pretty bummed, obviously. I said, dude, you should be so proud of that ride. Like, no one even challenges Jaden. That's an awesome feat in itself. But yeah, second, that's a bummer. And so as the race starts, people are looking at Jaden. I'm kind of chilling towards the back. I want to say there's maybe 40 people. Masters at our 40 to 45 is not that big. It starts getting bigger at 45 to 49. And then the 50 plus we're actually what I would call like a real road race, 60 plus guys. But still, it's 40 people that came out to Wisconsin, people who want to get on the podium. Like the level was high. There were so many people that could win that race. And so people are looking around, sizing people up. There's a lot of wind. People are throwing attacks. I was kind of surprised how spicy it started. And at one point we get over the first climb. I'm thinking, okay, second climb, let's see what happened. And Matt Clark, who came in second in the time trial, is going off the front with his head down like this dude is on a mission. I can see people looking at Jaden if he's going to chase that down. I can see people looking at other couple of fast people that are there, and no one seems to be making a move. And I thought, there's no way in hell I'm letting the guy who just did 450 watts for like 25 minutes go off the front, even if it's by himself. Masters racing also has this funny component. You got to know this too, like reading the race of how the group works. There's so many single riders that you don't always have teammates. So people kind of get in these negative chase groups, and it's really better to be racing more on the forefront in a Masters race. It is not a P1-2 race. And people that don't do Masters races and don't know that flow of the race complain about it. But it's like, dude, every race is different. That's how Masters racing is. Some people crap on it. It's like, that's just how it unfolds. You got to know that. And so I bridged up on the, first 15 minutes. And the guy who came with me, Brian McCullough, had won the year before. So now 3 people who are pretty strong are rolling up the road. And I thought, okay, I'm going to keep riding pretty hard. Let's see if we can establish something. Someone's going to come across, right? I'm blanking on the guy's name from Squadra who almost bridged by himself. You are a beast. And eventually the negative chase group thing happened. I saw through some comments on like Stefan Ross' page and Jaden's page. It seems like everyone wasn't pulling and working together. And at the end of the day, Stefan was like, I guess we shouldn't have let 3 pretty strong dudes go up the road. You gotta So what is this example? It's not just me being like, oh, look at me getting the break. I had a game plan of, okay, this is going to blow up on the climbs. I was ready and prepped for the climbs. I did not want to be in a break all day. I hadn't figured out this hip situation they have going on. Riding in a break all day was killing my body, but that's what the race required that day. So it's like, you can't always sit back and just think of like, well, this is where it's going to happen, because it doesn't always happen that way. I said I had 2 examples, but this also relates to an athlete who's doing provincials up in Canada this weekend, where it's kind of like a longer dragish in the beginning, and then there's one sharp climb. But I said, listen, the one thing that you want to have in your back pocket when you're going south and let me see if I remember the course. You're going south, you take a right. The climb starts after the 3rd corner, so don't be 20 wheels back going into the 3rd corner, right? Things could blow up there. However, there's this like false flat start. The race is not that long. If 5 guys start to hit it and 3 of them are pretty strong, dude, that's the move. You got to go. You got to race. So you can always try to predict things based on how the course is set up. Read the race. It just means look at what's unfolding in front of you and make your best guess. Sometimes we misread the race, but I just think this is a pretty simple concept that gets lost because people focus on only the course, or only waiting on one rider, or over marking people, and then things don't work out for them. So how do you get better at doing this? Racing and taking chances, right? Like, it was a chance for me to go out early knowing I'd be in the break for over 2 hours. We stayed away. Gotta take a chance, roll the dice. Okay. The 3rd example is for an athlete that's probably marked, and I realize this isn't for everybody, but this is something that you could aspire. Be the marked rider in your town, where people are just always going to follow you. Everyone's always after you. This athlete said, if the race is super hard, I can usually find the point in which everyone else is on their limit and then attack. However, if the course is a little bit easier, not super challenging, it's really hard to figure out. For races where you don't know everyone, but they know you, how do you manage knowing how to bridge across? Because that's one thing that I always tell athletes that are in this position. Sometimes you have to let a few things go up the road, and maybe you jump across and people come with you and it glues together, and you have to have that 5% left so that when people counterattack, you go with that, and that might be the move. Or waiting, 40 minutes if it's a road race, and you're trying to bridge to something at a point where a whole group can't come with you. Maybe you go with 2 other people, you meet up with the 5 people up the road, and that's the 8-person composition. I realize that's kind of tricky. Bike racing is tricky, right? Everybody wants to win, and if you don't have teammates out there, it can be a real challenge. So when teams are throwing attacks and you're trying to figure out when to bridge, I would say just try to glue things together, and hopefully there's someone else strong there that's doing the same thing, because they're in the same boat. They don't want something to go up the road because then everyone's looking at them or you to pull things back or whatever. You're almost following moves and not pulling through. You kind of catch and kill. You got to be careful with this, right? Because that's pretty negative. It's like you get in the break, but then you don't drive it because all these guys came with you, and it's only you. You need to go with the people that look fast and threatening, and sometimes it backfires because then someone else super strong comes over the top of you, and there's nothing you can do about that, right? That's the other thing. We're always trying to set up this perfect scenario, and it's more of, here are the cards that you have. What's the best hand? It's not always the winning hand, unfortunately. And then there's also times when the course is just too easy. It's no matter how hard you go, it's the game that can't be won, is you can't make it hard enough by brute force. You can't tactically get away because too many people are just chasing you down. And I mean, there will be times where you're thinking, how are there still 30 people in this race? Those are ones where you're gonna catch an L, and what are you gonna do? You can't be upset about it. And also, you can't be upset if people chase you down. That's a compliment. Like, being a marked rider, it shows that you've won some things, you've done some things, and you're worth chasing down. So, yeah, it can be negative at times if it's always the same thing, but hopefully you're going to races where there are a lot of fast people, and you can't be the only person marked. That's why always do the harder races. It's just way more fun, and then there's less pressure. Do a hard race. You're not expected to win. All right. Let's see here. 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep these podcasts like just hard hitting where you get what you need and you move on with it. So the plug coming up, Lactigo, is use the code cycling now, and they're coming out with new bottles. That's all I can say. The pump bottle is going away. I'm super pumped. God, I didn't plan that. I'm super pumped that the pump is going away. It's a new squeeze bottle. It's going to be bigger. It is so much better for travel and racing. I got a demo or whatever you want to call it bottle, and yeah, 50 times better. So with that, good luck with your training and racing. If you need help with the off season, definitely check out our training plans. The base plan is popping. Good luck. See ya.